I'm in Matthew chapter 26. Matthew chapter 26. This is Jesus here in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he's made his decision to offer himself as a sacrifice for humanity. And now Judas, the one disciple who's agreed to betray him to those who would kill him, is approaching him. So in chapter 26, verse number 48, it says, "Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, Whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he. Hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Jesus and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Jesus said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Jesus and took him." Judas called Jesus Master. Very formal, very true statement. As King of Kings and Lord of Lords, he is Master, but clearly Judas hadn't surrendered to him. But while the betrayer approaches him in this professional manner, Jesus responds to him as a very personal manner, because he calls him friend. How could Jesus call someone friend, not only who is a betrayer, but in the act of betraying him, betraying a trust that's been built up over at least 3 years of being together and working together and talking together? Even not long ago, Jesus washed his feet, knowing what Judas was going to do. Could it be that Judas experienced what Christ himself taught you and me? See, if you go back a few books in Matthew, look at chapter 5. In Matthew chapter 5, and verse number, I think it's around verse number 44, it says, "But I say unto you," Jesus says, "love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you." How can someone pray for an enemy, bless someone who's cursing them, pray for someone who's using them, and even persecuting them? It can't be an eye for an eye mentality. It can't be an equal response. There has to be a shift on the part of what you and I would call the victim, in spite of what's being thrown at them. And I think it's this. In Ephesians chapter 4, in verse 32, there's a word that's said, but I don't really think we understand what it means. Jesus says in Ephesians 4:32, "Be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another." Now, just go back to that word, forgiven. Well, what does it mean to forgive? Or it means to pardon, or it means to give grace. Okay, that's what it is, but when is it given? The word is forgiveness. See, to be forgiven is to get something before you even ask. It's given before it's asked. Could it be that Jesus was able to talk to Judas the way he did because he gave him something before he even asked for it? He gave him forgiveness. Now, clearly, Judas rejected that grace. Judas rejected that full free gift, and he ended up taking the life that Christ wanted to give him. But for you and me, who still have a chance to choose, we can receive something that God has already given to us. We just have to receive it. And when it comes to receiving this, as freely as we have received, that's how freely we have to give. In other words, we have to start pardoning people before they ask for our forgiveness. Saying, not waiting for them to say I'm sorry, but knowing that, you know what, even if they don't know what they've done wrong, I'm going to make my stand to do what Jesus did for me, and that's to give them grace before they even ask. And that's why, and that's how I can respond to them with peace when they give persecution. I can respond and I can bless them even though they're cursing me. Well, how can you bless an enemy? Well, they may be my enemy, but I don't see them as an enemy anymore. I have given them grace, and because they're in my good grace, I'm going to bless them. Period. Why? How? Read the last part of verse 32. "Even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you." If there's any word or any clause that would make you say, well, why should I do that? Even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you. Isn't it good to know that God's given you something before you ask? Which really means we got to hurry up and do the only thing that we can do, and that's receive it. Well, how do you know when you've received it? When you give it away.